Yeah, the song Break on Me. That song actually was written before this album that we're talking about now, Awakened by Hope. It was written on a project that the Rock Music had done called Knowing Jesus. There are two volumes of that, Knowing Jesus Volume 1, Knowing Jesus Volume 2. And as a church, what we had decided to do is spend an entire year going through the Gospel of John. And the musicians wanted to respond to that, writing two records about incorporating the entire Gospel of John. So each song was about a particular chapter. And I was assigned John chapter 3, which of course is talking about being born again. And it's the story of Nicodemus and Jesus and him speaking to him about what that means. And of course, John the Baptist was in that chapter as well, talking about how Jesus must become greater and we become less. It was a kind of a, I don't want to call it a lullaby, but it felt very much like an intimate song, this idea of coming to Jesus and saying, what does it mean? How does all of this work? And Jesus speaking to him with this tender voice, you need to be born again. I'm the light of the world. I've come, it's broken upon the earth. John the Baptist recognizing that with his disciples, he must become greater, we must become less. It was this soft moment, this moment of the Holy Spirit breaking us and making us brand new, cleanse us from our sin, make us born again. It was a prayer. And so when I wrote that song, it was written with that kind of feeling. I remember I wrote it in the dark. I was strumming chords with just my thumb. It was very quiet. And we had released that song with one particular arrangement on that first section of albums, Knowing Jesus Volume 1. But again, we had a new opportunity with the Dream Label Group. And again, I wanted to communicate my heart in such a way that this record is all about Jesus. And we all have these various different moments in our faith with Christ. And maybe, just maybe, somebody is coming to Jesus for the first time when they're listening to that album. And they want to know a little bit more about him. What does it mean to be born again? Jesus making us new. And I wanted to capture that moment with a slightly different arrangement, with some more percussive elements in the background, with some piano, with some strings, less acoustic, more of kind of a sparkly electric feel, but keeping that intimacy. And I think we hit that on this song. I really hope that when people listen to this song, they're reminded freshly of what Jesus has done for us, that he has cleansed us, that he has made us born again. And for any person that might be drawn to this album and listen to that song, perhaps for the first time or as Jesus is speaking to their heart, that they themselves would be drawn into receiving Jesus as their Savior.